Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glen Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters view. In this week's episode, we'll review the West Ham game from Saturday, look forward to the Villarreal Champions League opener on Tuesday night, and we'll preview the Brighton match at the weekend. Let's get into it.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Glenn, are you good?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I just shared obviously a story offline with you before we get into the review of the West Ham. My watching experience was an interesting one, given I was one of adults in charge at a scout camp, and I had kind of the best intentions, thinking I'll get back about 5 p.m. to home. I'll just keep from the score and watch it at home. Birds had me up at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. It was a 2:30 a.m. kickoff, so I was like, I'll just get up. And I got it sorted, had my iPad with me, streamed it on 4G. And I tell you what, as those scouts came out their tents, the children of today being starved of screen time, they're like, "What are you doing? What are you watching? What's that?" And I was like, "I'm watching the football, go
now."
Yeah. So yeah, I watched it. We'll get into it in a minute. Very much enjoyed it. But you had our guest a couple of weeks ago with you, right? Thomas joined you to watch it.
Thomas, who was in Vegas last week, he had a good time. And then I think he might have converted a couple of people from Boston to being Spurs fans as well. So that's quite interesting. That's another story for another podcast. So yeah, he came down in the morning. We watched the Arsenal Forest game, which was very disappointing. Obviously,
Ange is back doing what Ange does in the league, apparently.
I don't think that's going to work out. Not with the
I don't think it is either.
I think he's got the players for the attacking part, but they look a bit slow at the back for the high line. But we'll see.
Good. Not to derail this with Arsenal talk, but bloody good goal, the first goal. That volley.
It was. Yeah.
And then he tried it again, didn't he? Right before half time.
He did get a second goal, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But then I think immediately he tried the same kind of volley. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off. So, and you don't think it's going to work there?
Maybe. Let's be honest. If he's expecting a season to get things right and then to win something in his second season, I don't know if he's.
I don't think
if Marinakis is that patient, but we'll see.
Agreed.
Maybe he'll have a good run in the Europa. Who knows? I guess that's the.
Yeah, never know.
It could work in his favour.
Yeah, it's a lot. It could look to us though. But anyway, back to us.
So then, after we watched that, later on in the afternoon, we sat down and watched the West Ham Tottenham game.
Yeah, because it's 5:30 UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good time actually when we did that, and then we went out for a curry afterwards. So great, lots of football, and a curry was a pretty good day all round. Obviously, I'm home alone, all Kevin McAllister style. My wife is in Dubai with my daughter, having a wonderful time. We've messaged; they're doing good. So yeah, it's just me and the dog basically. So.
As I said, my viewing experience, obviously sat in a camping chair watching on an iPad, which is fine. You can. It was a bit of a wobbly connection. Even it wasn't live; it was on a delay, so that's fine. It was a bit grainy at times, but I'll take it. And then obviously done the.
You probably had a better view than the people in the stadium trying to watch it.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, indeed. With that bloody running track, and then I did my due diligence and watched the mini match once I got home on the big screen to get a full feel.
Not content with watching the match live, we also watched it on Match of the Day as well.
Yeah. It was an interesting one for me because we never at any time for me looked spectacular or amazing or this like fluid, attacking, crazy good team. We just looked very professional, very efficient. We're here to do a job,
organised,
get the 3 points, and we piss off. That's what it struck me as. Like just a very...
Everyone did their job and we took the points and we went home. Thank you very much. See you later.
Exactly. Yeah. The red card... Well, actually, before I talk about red card, referee indecisions, what did you make of the Romero disallowed goal?
It was a goal. Every single person I've seen who's seen it says if that's now a free kick, then there will never be another. That's all we'll see for every corner.
If anything, Van der Ven was the one being fouled.
And he was fouled later on as well.
He was being
wrestled
held
to the ground, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
and then
it was
free header for Romero, and I was very confused.
I can't believe that it went to VAR and they still backed up the referee. Yeah, not for me. If it hadn't have been 3-0, I might have been a bit more pissed off about it. But actually, do you know what's really annoying? If they'd have given that goal, we'd have gone top above Arsenal.
Yeah, I know, because it would have been goal different. Yeah,
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 but yeah,
frustrating.
I mean, yeah, I didn't. I thought the refereeing generally was really poor. He was awful. Not at all a fan of him.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you there. And then obviously the other decision I was going to mention, the red card.
He had to give it, really, didn't he?
He did. As strange as it's going to sound, I'm more of a defensive player, right? Be it 11-a-side when I was a kid or 5-a-side more now and I've been a grown-up. We've all done that and you don't mean it.
Oh, yeah, there was no malice in it for me.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
dangerous.
It was dangerous. And I mean, so much so, Polinia, I mean, his sock was all ripped,
open.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it could have been really...
I actually think he's quite a decent player, and I was a bit gutted
I know.
for him, but it was definitely a red.
But let's make no bones, that red didn't mean that we won.
No, it didn't dictate the outcome of the match. It helped, but we would have won it anyway. I think we were belligerent, weren't we? We just continued to grind them down.
Yeah.
The longer the game got on, it was a matter of how many rather than if. So, because I think we scored 2 minutes into the second half, right? It was
We did, yeah.
Pape Matar, which was, now, this is one of my favourite topics, zonal marking. Did you see, there's about 6 West Ham players marking nobody at the front post. Pape Matar just sat there at the back post with no one within about 5 yards of him.
So, I think, we were going to get into almost a bit of a Q&A, and one of the questions you had teed up for me was, did I see anything new from the team? And I'll answer you maybe preemptively, I did, and it was that goal, because it's not so much the team, but if you watch it back, their celebration, they all point to the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I'm led to believe at half-time, one of Frank's, I think it might have been Cochrane, or some of his backroom staff said...
The set-piece coach. I can't
Correct,
remember
the
his name,
set-piece coach.
Georgios, is it? Giorgio?
Yeah. But he said, the back post, attack the back post. We will get joy from doing that. And then we did
2
it.
minutes later, bosh.
Yeah, and they all pointed. And look, not to go on, we talked about Ange a bit ago, but if there's one thing he was poor at was kind of changing things in game, and he sat on his thumbs a bit.
And he never showed any interest in set pieces.
Correct.
Defending
so
or
to have
attacking.
a coaching team who was spotting that weakness and saying target the back post and then it comes off and we score, that for me was,
It wasn't the only time either. They didn't change the way they defended. No. They carried on marking heavily loaded on the front post. So I suppose they were trying to stop flick-ons, but didn't need 6 of them.
Correct. In that spirit, is there anything that you noticed, Graham, like new from the team or just the approach in general?
Well, there's definitely a persistence with the long throw, right? So again, another kind of set
Bergvall
piece.
to take them.
Yeah. I guess Bergvall's just so lanky. Like he's got a good lever to get the ball in the box, and it was dangerous as well. Like because we get a few taller players in the box, and I also noticed that I think after a couple of players went off for West Ham, but they weren't a very tall team. So I think they struggle quite a lot because of that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but their left back, I can't remember his name.
Well, did they just recently sign him? Diouf.
Yeah, he was decent. He was a good player.
Yeah.
He kept Kudos quite quiet. Kudos.
Yeah, he's only 20.
Kudos to Kudos.
Yeah, they signed him, Slavia Prague, they signed him this summer. Yeah, he's not a bad player. On that, look, the predictable booing every time he touched the ball, but he
played all right. I think he played quite well.
He played quite well, but again, it goes back to my whole overall assessment of the team. He played quite well, much like everybody else did, without being outstanding or spectacular.
Yeah, he wasn't at his best. But
what did you make of Xavi Simons' debut?
All right, it was involved.
Yeah,
nothing negative really to say about it. It wasn't. There's nothing to really set the pulse racing or anything, but I thought he did all right. I thought
There was one passage of play. He got the assist. He got an assist, of course.
Yes.
There was one passage of play. I can't remember exactly when it happened in the game, but I think it was in the second half, where he had drifted into the middle and almost took up a bit of a number 10 role. He had the ball, and you could just see the player's vision. He played it, and no one was there. But him doing that, he played it in a space where someone should have been. And he seems to just be that step ahead and that clever
Yeah,
player.
everyone needs to catch up with him.
Yeah, and he looked so frustrated. Like when the camera cut to him, it was like, you were in. Someone should be there, type of thing. But he was playing on the left, of course. So arguably, he was trying to pass to himself.
Yeah, yeah. There's a bit of a limitation in that.
Yeah.
And I think
agree with you.
that's. I think it just depends on whether we will persevere with him on the left for the time being. I think it'll depend on who we're playing a lot. Like actually, West Ham weren't. They didn't sit that deep. They didn't press really. Well, certainly in the second half, they were hardly pressing at all. I think by that stage they'd kind of given up. But especially when they went down to 10, of course. But I think maybe in some games he'll be more necessary in the central role. But then we're kind of probably looking at Odegaard or Tell then on the left, aren't we? If we do
Probably
that.
are. On that player, Tell. Do you think that was a bit of a pity start for him, knowing that he's not in the Champions League squad?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, definitely we're going to have to do squad rotation, right? We're going to if we're going to play in 4 tournaments this season, we need to balance the squad, and hopefully, if we do it well, and when you think about it, right, we made a few changes there. We managed to rest Bentancur as well. So then Richarlison didn't play a full match. He played 10 minutes at the end or something. So being able to rest players means they're less at risk of getting injured as well. So hopefully, if we can find a balance and continue to win games with some consistency and rotate players through some of those matches, then I think it will really help us. We really want to get to kind of like the December period without too many injuries, right? And we've got injuries at the moment, but these are still ones from last season that haven't come good yet. I mean, apparently Solanke's close, but then I've been hearing that since about July. So maybe we just wait on that one. I've seen Dragosin back in training as well. So like we've got maybe players will start to come back and we'll have a bit of depth, which will be great. But there's just we still don't have I don't think what I would consider a current first team left winger. I think the players we've got are not. They may be like understudy level for what we really need. It's that Savinho would have
correct
would have been
that
position, really, isn't it? Yeah.
That
would have really elevated us. We'd have had a full 3 behind a striker that would be probably in tune with each other.
Yeah,
similarly on the same wavelength.
Yeah, just going back to the other couple of goals there. So obviously the Romero assist for the Bergvall header, really clever goal.
Such a great goal.
Yeah.
What a header. Sometimes you have to remind yourself, he's 19.
Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes when he heads it. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Did you say that? I think someone told me, is it you that told me that's his 50th match?
Yeah.
For Tottenham. In just over a season. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
really
good.
I'm really happy for him too, because he had a good game as well.
He did, yeah. Yeah.
And then the third goal, like Van der Ven, but finishing, I mean, that strikers will be proud of that finish.
Yeah.
You know? But was it Bergvall for the assist for that as well? Was he?
Yes, it was,
Yeah. I thought it was, yeah. So he got assisted.
I've got to be honest, I think he was dribbling into the box and he went round one person and then he kind of lost it a bit and kind of stuck a toe out. And where he stuck the toe out, it kind of just rolled nicely to Van der Ven, who then slotted it home. So that was
great finish.
Yeah, and really
great
kind
finish.
of took all the.
We'll get into it in next week's episode, I'm sure. But just talking about squad and game load and such. Obviously, we've got Doncaster Rovers on Wednesday week, it'll be really interesting to me to just see what he does, because there's an argument to be made there. You do not need to pick all the kids. You can play a somewhat second string, which is still a fairly strong side. So it'll be interesting what he does.
Gray, I can see playing. So
Gray will play.
Have someone like Danso.
Yeah, Davies.
Probably, depending on whether Udogie plays.
I think Davies in for me in that game.
Yeah, quite possibly. And then whether Udogie plays or...
Yeah, because he came on, of course, didn't he, against West Ham?
Him or Spence, I guess one of them.
And then Kinski in goal, you'd expect.
Yeah. I mean,
getting ahead of ourselves with that.
We can still put out a pretty strong team. That's what I think. That's the good.
Yeah, I think so, and that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like when you think we've got Richarlison and maybe Solanke back by then, and Moani, and then we've got Tell, we've got Odegaard, we've got Brennan Johnson. We've got good options. we could put together a pretty decent team. My worry
So-
always is that we have never been a team that adapts well to a lot of changes in cup competitions. I've seen us make like a raft of changes and then absolutely shit the bed too many times to be confident of us winning against Doncaster with a much changed team.
Massive
It may be
game.
half the team, something like that, like 5 or 6 players.
I read somewhere that their ticket, they did like an online thing to buy tickets and it crashed because of the interest.
Really? Wow. That doesn't surprise
So,
me.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he does. Just closing out the West Ham game, who was your player of the match? Like, who did you feel that was like a stand above everybody else in terms of performance?
I think for me, all round game, Bergvall
Yeah.
was amazing. Really, really good. Special note for Romero, who was really solid defensively again. That, but also for the pass for Bergvall's goal was exquisite, wasn't it? What a floated ball just in behind the defender. Caught the back line perfectly, and Bergvall's run was so well timed. I mean, it was literally on the shoulder, wasn't it? It was great.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you there on player of the match. I thought he was everywhere. He's strong.
I think he got the TV man of the match as well.
Yeah.
Not that I put much when you've got Alan Smith in the studio doing giving it.
He needs to be banned from all Spurs games. That guy.
Yeah, he's not as bad as Lee Dixon, I suppose. There is that.
Yeah, indeed.
But that's
indeed.
if we're talking about a very low bar.
Yeah, but overall, good performance, good 3 points. Only 1 goal conceded in the Premier League, 4 games in. You take that, he seems to have sorted that out, which has been great. And I think we have some kind of record, 87 games played, and we haven't had a 0-0.
Yeah.
Like I saw some stats somewhere.
Even better, and I think it's Pedro Porro. 67 matches, I think he's played, and I think maybe it's more than that. Anyway, I can't remember which number. The stat is basically he's never been involved in a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that is mental. Yeah.
That's not a good. I don't know if it's good or bad because it would be good if we'd won all those games, but
we
know that we didn't.
Yeah, this is it. Well, speaking of games that we hope to win, Villarreal, obviously a Tuesday night for you.
Yes.
I'm in a bit of a pickle on what to do about that. So,
it's
as
a shit
you
time
know,
for you again, isn't it?
What's that? Sorry.
It's a shit time again for you.
Well, it is. It's 5 a.m. right, which I get.
It's not too bad.
Which becomes 7 a.m. soon with the time changes. But here's the quandary I have. So I'm part of, as you know, a bit of a men's mental health group, and we meet every Wednesday. Normally, I would just say, I'm watching Spurs, I'm not going to make it. But I run it with another guy, and the guy that I run it with isn't here. He's on holiday. So I'm like, I can't let him down. I can't let the guys down. So what I'm thinking of doing is getting up, watching the first half, and then just have an extended half time, and then come back and finish it.
Maybe that will work. I promise not to message you in the meantime.
I did that with the England Serbia game last Wednesday, where I just basically watched the first half, essentially paused it at half time, buggered off, did it, came back, and by just after 7 I was home, and then I just finished the game. So I see what, or I'll just go do it, act like it's not on, come back, be on blackout, and start it around 7ish.
Yeah. I'm watching this one on TV at home. So not going this week. Because
Well, of course, with the league phase,
reason.
do we have 4 home games, 4 away games, essentially?
it is, yeah. They go all the way through to January again, don't they, I think?
Well, this is it. So there's plenty of opportunity. And I was sceptical on how that league phase thing was going to work with Champions League and Europa League. But Champions League, particularly last season, it actually added excitement because that last league game phase, there was like a lot on the line.
Yeah.
People were dropping out, people were dropping in. And the team that won the league in the Champions League ended up going out in the round 16. It was Liverpool. They lost PSG.
Yeah.
So it showed you that it did create a bit of parity, if you like.
I do like the fact that you play like 7 different teams, not like home and away fixtures.
Correct.
I don't mind that. I think it's a bit more variety, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've actually got, across our fixtures, like in Champions League, you would say we've come out of that. Villarreal, Bodo Glimt, Monaco, Copenhagen, PSG, that's going to be a good game, that's away.
Frankfurt, is it last one?
and Slavia Prague, and then yes, Dortmund, then Frankfurt. So you'd look at those fixtures both of a couple of things, right? First off, travel. We haven't got to travel too far away. The worst is probably Norway, which we did last season. We know all about that.
But that's the next one, isn't it? Or it's certainly
October. It's early, so
yeah,
it's not like we're going
late.
there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going there in December?
It's like minus 36 or something.
Yeah. So I'm glad that's happening in October.
The pitch is being flamed to try and kind of warm it up.
And for our viewers and listeners, we will be getting Mugner back on for that.
Yes, that would be great. He was
so we've come out of it okay, I think. But Villarreal at home, I think we'd all have taken this as a first Champions League game in a few seasons. A couple of ex-Spurs. Well, one ex-Spurs. Or two, but one won't play. So you've got Juan Foyth, and then you've got Manuel Solomon, but he won't play because he's on loan.
Yeah.
And then we've got...
Let's be careful for legal reasons what we say about the second one.
Yeah, we're just going to play. There's a guy called Thomas who played for Arsenal. We'll move on from that. And then Perez, ex-Newcastle and Leicester.
Yeah.
So, look, we're at home. It's under the lights. Do you know what I hope we do, Graham? I hope we wear all white. I love us in all white kit in European night. There's just something about it.
I think we will. I think usually we do. And we're home, so it's a white kit. So
I just wish we wore that all the time. I think it just looks better.
I do like it.
So... We've got a few familiar faces coming back to obviously from Premier League and ex-Arsenal and ex-Spurs. We've covered this a bit already when we did the review of West Ham, but Solanke obviously out, Zuma's out, but he's not going to feature anyway. I think he'd be.
Well, he's not in the Champions League squad, is he? Anyway,
squad, yeah. So
I don't think Kulusevski. I think all of those.
He was sensible in that. Kulusevski, Dragusin, Maddison.
Then none of them are in the squad because it wasn't worth putting them in because they'd be out for so long, and then Tell because we just didn't have the numbers.
Well, did he look at Tell or Moani? Right, it would have been between those two, and I think he said, "Look, Moani gets the nod for the."
Yeah,
and then you might see. Do you reckon he'd start him in Champions League, Moani? I mean, he was on the bench.
No, I'd see no reason why not if he's fit enough. He made the bet. He was at the bench, and maybe give him 60 minutes, see how he gets on. We can always bring Richarlison on.
I think Bentancur plays.
Yeah, I think he'll play as well.
I think he comes in for Sarr, even though Sarr's been very good.
Yeah, I think just to mix it up a bit, give everyone game time. I think Udogie plays left back.
Yep, wouldn't disagree.
Did you see his hair?
Yeah,
it's like he's like. He thinks he's like copying Jed Spence. It's like
well, it was weird.
Who's that? Oh, it's
same. I did exactly the same when they cut to him. I thought it was Moani for a moment. I go, oh, is that Moani? And I was like, oh no, it's Udogie. What? What I wanted to look at actually, which I can pull up now, is what kind of a season in La Liga are they having in terms of
their
form
away matches. They've
won 2, drawn 1, lost 1. Okay.
They've lost 1, drawn 1 away. I think that's all I saw. I didn't put too much into, but they're quite a counter-attacking team from what I've read.
Yeah.
So the good thing about that is we're not playing a really high line and putting ourselves at a lot of risk anymore. So I think we should be able to cope with them.
A player I've just noticed, which wasn't on the list of familiar faces from them up the road, is it the same Nicolas Pepe? Was he at Arsenal? He was, yes, it is him.
Was he?
Remember Nicolas Pepe? He signed for Arsenal with like record-breaking transfer in 2019, but then he wasn't very good, and he's bounced around on a few. He's bounced around on a few loans, and now he's at Villarreal.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. I'm not sure why I didn't pick that one out.
Yeah,
I recognised the name, but I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
He must have played that frequently for Arsenal that I didn't even remember.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I know that name. But so counter-attack, I mean, it would be lovely to get off with a win, right? And I think the way the league, if you win your home games and get something in one of your away games, meaning a win, you've got half a fighting chance of finishing in that top 8. Because that's how it works, isn't it? It's top 8 and then 9th through the next lot go into a playoff. So the top 8 is what you want. So, I don't know, it's also going to be interesting that, has Thomas Frank ever managed in Europe in terms of European competition?
Maybe you might have for, forget the name of the team now, but in Norway or Denmark. I can't remember who was he managed. It was
Denmark, I'm pretty sure.
Denmark.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he goes in terms of like. But it's a big thing for him, though, right? Champions League.
Oh yeah, I think he's really up for it. This is a really big thing for him. He said,
Yeah.
like I saw a really good interview with him with Michael Carrick.
Yes, I've seen the link. I need to. I
Amazon.
watched that on the train on the way into the
Really
office.
good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a conversation between two managers now, and it's like, and of course, Carrick's obviously played for Tottenham as well. So, but it was really interesting to even talk about match day preparation and how do you prepare teams when the games are coming every 3 or 4 days. Because they've both done that, so that was really interesting to the kind of how do you prepare and what do you do. One of the interesting one was when the players go out to warm up and the coaches take them out to warm up on the pitch for a game. What do you do for that 20 minutes? Like, as a manager, like it was really interesting. Definitely worth a watch. If anyone else hasn't seen it, I'll put a link in the description of the video. It's
I'll be
definitely
watching
worth a
that
watch.
today. Yeah, at some point.
And actually, the match here in the UK is on Amazon tomorrow.
Oh, Amazon have picked up
Yeah.
Champions League, have they?
Some of them, they've got like a selection of games. Most of the rest of them are on TNT Sports. But yeah.
Yeah, so I think Muani might start. I've got a feeling. Obviously,
I think he'll get
Simmons
some
will
game time. If he doesn't start, maybe
Yeah.
Richarlison starts and he plays
Could do. Well,
20 minutes in
Charleston,
the second half or something.
he certainly seems to be managing Richarlison pretty well. He's had a good start to the season broadly.
Well, we're four matches in and he's not injured yet, so
Well, injured. It's incoming
I'll
now.
take it. Yeah.
But you're going to put a score on it for Villarreal? I think we'll
I'm
win.
going to go 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go 2-1. I think we will concede, but I think 2-1. I think it'll be a tight affair, but I can see us getting the win, and I think it'll be a really solid start. Because then I think, as we talked about, I think the next Champions League game is away to Bodo. So all 600 Tottenham fans to make the journey. That tiny little stadium. It's actually, there's something to be said for that, right? To go back there. It's quite funny how that's worked out.
Yeah. Well, it's like this season we've got them and Frankfurt, right? So
Frankfurt again, yeah.
So that's two from our league. Well, two from the knockout stages from last season. Plus we've got Dortmund, who we have played 4 times in the Champions League under Pochettino, I guess, and not lost against them. We've won every game. So and then also I remember the first time we qualified for the Champions League with Poch. We had I think it was the 15-16 season.
Yep.
And we played our Champions League games at Wembley, but not the league games. And I went with Josh to the first match was Monaco. So another one.
That's right. Yes.
We lost as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great game, but we lost that
So
one.
there's kind of that history across most fixtures.
There's a lot of familiarity. A lot of the teams. So Villarreal, we've never played competitively. Prague, is it? I don't think we've played there.
Well, of course, the connection with Slavia Prague used to be owned by Joe Louis Consortium.
Was he one of the ENIC stable?
They were one of the teams that he was involved in long before, like when it was like the multi-ownership thing, and then he sold it. Or I think it was them, Rangers, maybe.
Yeah, Rangers they had a part ownership.
And I think there was a team in Belgium, but anyway, I'd have to check. But no, I'm looking forward to it, regardless of how I watch it, what time I watch it, how I structure it. So I'm looking forward to being back in the
Something I
Champions League.
remembered going back to the West Ham game. The Lewis family were at the game, so
it was his daughter, and then behind his door was Charrington, wasn't it?
Charrington. It wasn't. There was a guy sat behind.
That's Charrington.
Charrington.
Yeah. Yes.
Must look like Mr. Creosote.
Yes. Well, it's funny because I picked up on exactly the same, and I just was in the politest way possible. I'm in a WhatsApp group, and I said, "Charrington's a large human being, isn't he?"
I think he had 2 seats.
Well, and then I started to think about it. He's obviously very, very rich. So I'm like, he takes full advantage of the caviar, the steaks, the red wine.
He's getting hospitality on a daily basis.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And then
because I was like, who is that? And then it's Charrington.
Was it his? The comment what's her name? The
name's escaping me, but the lady in front of him is
was
the
it
daughter.
her husband or her son?
I think it's her
son-in-law
son
or something.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of them involved, I think.
Yes.
In Tavistock, is it, or in ENIC itself? I can't remember which.
Tavistock, ENIC, all one and the same, I guess, in terms of.
I think Tavistock owns ENIC.
Correct. So it's Tavistock Group, ENIC, Tottenham.
So I think there's a weird way that the shares are split up, right? Because
Most likely.
I think that Daniel Levy owns shares in ENIC,
yeah,
but then Tavistock
They
shares
did,
are worth
but-
more, I guess.
but let's not forget, Joe Lewis was looking at a significant. I think he's paid a significant fine, and I think he didn't go to prison. But that's when he handed, long before, apparently, he handed all of the stuff over to his daughter.
Oh yeah,
In terms of anything to do
no
with
issues
Spurs.
there. But
Yeah,
it was good to see them at the match.
Yeah,
So hopefully they'll be a bit more involved.
hope so.
I don't
did
want them
finally
to.
watch the
I'm not worried
interview.
about hearing them talk every 5 minutes.
Agreed.
I guess so. All they will keep coming until they start getting booed.
Well,
Or
this is
shouted
it.
at.
I finally watched the interview with our new CEO, which is only like 8-9 minutes off the back of the episode last week with Stephen and Jeremy. Jeremy. Yeah, and I found it. One thing that I had a takeaway with that is like he almost said, yes, there is money to spend, but I've got to be careful how I couch this because I don't want there to be a headline of Spurs have a war chest to spend.
Yeah,
but I think we're going to be active in the January window. I really do, and I think it could be a bit of a statement signing.
We did something weird though as well, didn't we? We took a loan for 90 million, which I think is like operating capital. I don't really know. It's the way that big businesses work is a very alien concept to me, in that they seem to use financial instruments that don't make a lot of sense to me, but there's a reason for it, I guess.
There's always a reason, yeah, no, indeed. And then, obviously, we're not going to record again after the Villarreal game. We'll kind of do a review of that probably this time next week. But we've got Brighton, obviously, in the league. It's another away game, which I thought we'd be at home, but we're away again.
No, it is another away game. I watched a bit of their game with Bournemouth as well. They're not a bad team.
But they're a good side, and there's players in that side that can always hurt us, right?
Yeah. They do keep selling them, though. Eventually, their luck's got to run out with that production line of replacement players, though, right?
I really like Minter and Matoma. Matoma's a good player.
Matoma is just a beautiful footballer.
Yeah.
I would love him to come in and be our left winger.
Brilliant player.
I just love watching him play. He's a real magician.
And James Milner, 40, is he 40 years young? How old is he? He's 39. He's going to be 40 in January, which is crazy.
I mean, he's had an incredible career, hasn't he?
Oh,
Whichever
fair play
way
to
you
the
dress
bloke.
it up, what a career.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to the guy. Good,
Yeah.
good career. Good,
Was it
good
the other
guy.
playing for Brentford was Henderson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah,
Your answer to our midfield woes for the last two
it
seasons.
was last season, wasn't it? Just bring him in, stopgap. But we seem to have done that now with.
He's
Anson
obviously completed his tax exile, and as
Yeah,
he's
well,
gone
exactly
back to
right.
the Premier
Saudi
League.
Arabia and Europe. Yeah, no, indeed.
Now all his Saudi money's secreted offshore in a bank somewhere.
Yeah. Well, the Brighton game, like, it's a hard one to kind of predict. I'm not going to put any kind of score on it because I don't know what's going to happen in the Villarreal game and the players that become available. But one would hope the team that did that against West Ham we might start to see a bit of a blueprint for the Premier League games. And I think Sarr, with his running, starts every week in the league. Polinia seems to adapt quite well in the league. He might play Champions League too. The only thing I think is I don't know if I love Tell as a centre forward. I just don't think he is that player.
No,
I think
I'm
Richarlison
hoping
needs to be there.
that two things: either Solanke comes back
Yeah.
pretty sharpish and he's able to play at even some of the games, we can rotate better, or Colin Moani has a game, looks decent, throw him in, play a bit more as an option. Yeah. I think he might even play on the left.
Yeah.
When we've got fit strikers as well. That gives us a bit more balance, I think. He can play on the left, so
very different circumstances, but they were obviously our last home game. They were our last game of the season, and they pumped us 4-1 after us all being hungover.
Yeah, and hungover and playing high line. It's not a great mixture.
It's interesting, right? Because I was saying this to some mates here, not getting ahead of myself, but when I look at our fixtures until we play Chelsea, it's Brighton away, Wolves at home, Leeds away, Villa at home, Everton away. Out of all those fixtures, the one that actually worries me the most is probably Everton away.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah. I think they're actually looking quite decent. He's done an amazing job again, hasn't he? He could squeeze the pips out of every lemon. He'd get every little bit out of all the players. They look really good.
Probably end up back at Man United.
Well, anything's possible. I bet there's a lot of West Ham fans who wish they had him back.
No, for sure, for sure. But
Again.
where I'm going with that is, it's not so much about our fixtures, which I think are all games that we can go and get something. It's the games that other teams are playing where they could take points off one another, right?
Yeah.
So it's we could. I'm not getting ahead of myself. We could be really well placed by the time we meet Chelsea in early November. There's nothing to suggest that we couldn't be.
We've got Arsenal shortly after as well, haven't we?
Yeah, November's a bastard of a month from a fixture. So we've got
bastard.
Chelsea at home, Man United at home, which who knows what we get with that. Could be a new manager. And then Arsenal away, then PSG away.
Yeah, that's a month.
Yeah.
I think actually it'd be nice to have be able to rotate a few players against Man U.
Yes. So
Do you think he can't be gone by then? Can he? Although I feel like he's defeated already, and his interviews are like, "I'm not going to change." Sack me.
I don't get it.
It's almost like he's willing them to get rid of him.
Don't get me wrong. Long let the chaos reign. I couldn't give a shit. I think he's.
I think they've made terrible buys. I mean, they're not bad
totally
players.
agree.
They haven't bought bad players, but they've bought players in areas where they had players,
100%.
and they've left massive gaping holes in the squad in other areas. So it just doesn't.
Like I say, I couldn't give a shit. I clearly do give a shit because I'm talking about it in the context of I'd be quite happy for them to continue to be poor because I was sick of them being so good for basically all of my childhood and some. And even
They do a bit of karma, aren't
Well, they are, but even in their like bad spell, they still were winning trophies. They were picking up League Cups, FA Cups, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean. If you look at what they won in the last 7 years as a Spurs fan, you'd be like, I'll be happy with that. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? I don't know if it is all Amorim, but it's obviously not working.
I don't think
he's been backed, but again. I don't.
They to your point, right? I said this to a Man United fan here when I watched the Manchester derby yesterday, certainly Monday morning for me. I texted him and I said, it's not like exactly what you just said. It's not that you've bought bad players. Like the players you brought, Cunha and Mbeumo, Sesko, they're clearly good players. But when you're watching Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw being turned inside out by Haaland, there's your problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and also they haven't really got any defensive shield. They're really missing a six.
At all, yeah. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes is not a central midfielder. He's a luxury number 10.
And you can't play him when you're playing a front three of Sesko.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't work. There's just too many offensive players on the pitch all getting in each other's way.
So they are...
I mean, a friend of mine, Andy, he sometimes listens to the pod. He's a Man U fan. And he's... bit disillusioned with it all at the moment. It's quite difficult to really pinpoint. It still feels like there's not like a togetherness between the kind of management of the club and the team. It all feels a bit fragmented to me.
Well, I listened to the and he's quite good. I listened to the new Wayne Rooney show, the podcast he's doing now. And he basically touched on it, he went into quite a bit of detail, but he said basically, I think since Amaran has joined, if you aggregate the points gained across the number of games, it's 1 point a game. And he said that's relegation. He goes, like, you'd fire managers for less.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. Yeah, anyway, back to Spurs. As I said, Brighton game, I don't know, maybe I will put a prediction on it.
So do you think sorry, just about the Brighton game.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll rotate again?
Yeah, well, what I think pending any injuries and maybe not Tell starting, instead it might be Richarlison. I think we see what we saw away to West Ham. I really do. I think we see that team. I think that is kind of the blueprint. This assumes Van der Ven, Romero, Porro come through okay against Villarreal. I think Spence is probably rested against Villarreal. And to your point, Udogie comes in. I think the midfield changes with Bentancur coming in for Sarr against Villarreal. Therefore, that means Sarr starts away to Brighton. I think Xavi Simons plays both games.
Either that or Bentancur comes in for
maybe. But
Sarr
I certainly think
role.
Pap Sarr, for me, his style, the way he runs a game with his running, he suits Premier League. He does. He just does.
He's got the energy for it, hasn't he?
The up and down. Whereas
they're
Champions
both
League,
the same actually. They're very. Both of them have got really good engines for.
100%.
I think that youth really helps them. Like they could do all the running. Pliny could just stand there and murder people.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? Away to Brighton, Porro's going to play, and we're going to get our first 0-0.
I wouldn't be surprised. So come on, then you tried to swerve it, but give me a prediction for the Brighton game.
I can see we don't have a great record there, do we? I can see us I think it could be like a 1-1 or something. I really do. I think Brighton aren't shit. I think it's actually a tricky away fixture for any side. They beat Man City, as did we, but they beat Man City recently.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was Man City's game after us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't think we're rocking into that game against a team that aren't any good. I'll put a score draw on it, but I don't see us conceding more than one, so therefore 1-1. I think a 1-1 draw. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I think fairly low scoring game, this one. Although saying that, it'll probably be like 6-3 or something. But I'd say nil.
Yeah, there we go. 0-0. Just to give you context, and our listeners and viewers context, the last time we won away there was October 9th, 2022. So we lost 4-2 2023, we lost 3-2 in 2024, and then we lost at home to them last game of last season, so 4-1. So we don't travel tremendously well there, and they're not rubbish. This is the thing, right?
No.
They're not little old Brighton. They're a good team.
No,
so, and I like their manager, actually. I think he's a good manager.
He's he's what, 31?
Yeah, young manager. So I'll go out and say 1-1. Now, I may revisit that in my head after the Villarreal game if we start losing.
I think that knowing what the availability of players is after that, obviously, but we're having to take a leap of faith here because we're not going to.
You could see Moani start against Villarreal, come off after 60 minutes. Richarlison gets half an hour, and then reverse
it for the other game. Yeah,
and then reverse it for Brighton. So one thing I will say for either fixture, we seem to have a manager who will change it up, who will figure out a way, who is not scared after 40 minutes or half time to make tweaks, make changes, do things like attack the back post. That's where we're going to get joy.
One of the best things I thought from the interview I heard with Frank before the West Ham game was he reflected on what he'd said after the Bournemouth game. And I think he realised that it was much worse than he originally thought when he watched it back. And in the end, I think he said, I completely missed you. I got that wrong. That one's on me. Yeah. Which, I think we all felt that. I felt that. I felt that he made the decisions weren't right. We weren't set up right for that game. I think what I think actually happened was I don't think Bournemouth set up the way that he expected them to. And I don't think we adjusted on the day because they switched. Semenya played on the left, not on the right. And he targeted Porro, right? They absolutely targeted Porro and it worked for them. It caused us a lot of trouble.
And I think you'd agree with this. We want that from a manager, right? We want a manager to be.
Yeah, it's a bit of self-reflection is never a bad thing. Someone who's willing to look back at what they've done and adjust accordingly. Fine with that.
Everything that Antonio Conte and Ange Postecoglou in different ways.
Ange's like, I'm just going to keep playing like this, and I'm going to keep playing like this. Yeah. So that I quite like that. I guess there's always been this thing, isn't it? Like with the biggest teams, it's always like we will play like this, and we will impose ourselves on other teams, and they will adjust to us. But that doesn't always work. There's no shitty teams anymore, right? Most of the teams can set themselves up to be difficult to beat. So he definitely has a reputation of being a tinkerer, right? And I think that there are times that Brentford supporters felt that he did it too often or a bit too much. So I guess that's the thing to be cautious of. But I think the number of games we will play, he will have to rotate a lot. So we'll see a lot of that. But it's about we want to have 3 or 4 ways of playing, not 40 ways of playing. If that makes sense.
It's almost you don't want to go from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah, because I think the supporters. I think there's another really interesting part of that interview with Carrick was that he was saying that some of the players you want a lot of information. Some of the players don't want much at all. Some of them don't want any information. They can't absorb a lot of information. So there are players that he will want to give the real detail about where to be and when to be there and all the positioning on the pitch and what to do when we're in and out of possession. And others, it's basically like, just go out there and do your thing. So finding a balance with a team when you are that technically organised for a match must be quite frustrating and difficult for a manager like him, the way he likes to do it. I guess the risk is that he tries to impart too much information onto someone who's just not going to absorb it, and then it doesn't work. So interesting.
Yeah, it should be an interesting approach.
I really like him so far. I'm really like him.
I like how he carries himself.
All the people I've seen online, like Michael Bridge was on Last Word on Spurs, I think, last night, And he's obviously interviewed him quite a few times, and they've all got nothing but good stuff to say about him. He said he's very cheerful, very happy, never loses his temper.
He strikes me as a guy that would be a wonderful bloke to have at a party.
Yeah.
Go and have a chat with Thomas. He's a lovely bloke.
Yeah. Have you seen? There's a you probably haven't seen it. There's an advert at the moment. I can't even remember what the advert's for, but it's Sam Allardyce. Who else is it? It's basically like all the dinosaur managers all sitting on sun loungers, drinking beer. But apparently they've all got a podcast.
Right.
I don't know. It's like I'll dig it out. Someone was telling me about it. But it sounded like it could be quite interesting because even if you don't, you're not really interested in their footballing philosophy, the stories they must have to tell would definitely be worth a listen, right?
In that spirit, I listened to The Rest is Football with Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and that, but he did a special and it was Gary Lineker interviewing Roy Hodgson. And to your point, whatever you think of his football, he has some really
he's an absolute genius as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the guy's had how long's his career been in football? 40, 50 years?
Easily, because he became a manager really young, and it's really interesting to hear his story that he went and got he went and earned his stripes in Sweden, and then he was obviously he was Switzerland national manager, and then he was Finland's national manager. And then
he's managed in Portugal, Italy.
He's managed a lot of places, but he wasn't much of a player. But to your point, some really cool stories. And he touches on like his England career. I'd encourage anyone watching or listening, and yourself, to give it a listen. It's really interesting.
I might dig that one out.
Yeah,
I'm always on the lookout for new stuff. And I've got a few days to myself. It's quite nice to have a podcast on in the background and not have my wife go, "What's this shit?"
Yeah.
I don't have to. My guilty pleasure of TalkSport in the car often gets criticised by the missus.
Well, I've been listening. I've sent you a few of them, but it's called, I think it's the Ness and Dormer podcast, which isn't about.
That's really good. I've listened to a couple of them now.
Which is not about classical music for our listeners and viewers. So for our people that haven't, for our subscribers and stuff that haven't listened to it, it's essentially a retro. So it's a lot of nostalgia, and they cover anything from the 80s and 90s. So they did like a whole episode 1 to, I think there was like episode 1 to 6 on Euro 96, and they did one on Italia 90 where they like talk about the round of the group stage, round 16, but then they did a really interesting one recently where it was Italia 90. Look, this is me nerding out, but it was the concept of Italia 90 if Cameroon had not beaten Argentina in the first game, and the permutations of what that meant for who people met. And then they like predicted that, and it was really quite an interesting listen, because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that would have happened. And I think it would have lined up that England would have played Argentina in the semi-final, not Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool. And they do it in a way where it's really quite engaging and interesting. So
I listened to I think it was the one you sent me, which was the Ozzy Ardiles Famous Five one, which was really interesting. Because actually, what I found most interesting about it was that whole Famous Five thing, we hardly, when he played it for about 7 or 8 matches.
7 games.
Yeah.
And so it almost goes down in history that was the season. It was only 7 games.
Yeah, but the rest of the season died on its arse shortly after that, and he was gone by November, wasn't he? I think it would.
It was Jerry Francis came in, and then we obviously
he did an incredible job turning that around.
Well,
finding a balance
when Jerry
in the
Francis
squad.
came in, we weren't in the FA Cup because we'd been banned.
Yeah, because that was the season that we. Was it also the season where we were fighting the points deduction?
Correct, and we got them both overturned. But then what was amazing was the FA Cup in particular, we got to semi-final, and then everyone was saying they were banned and they're going to go on to win it. And I went with my dad to every round of that FA Cup run, which is great memories as a kid, right? And then we got absolutely pumped by Everton. Weirdly, at Ellen Road is where the game was
because that's when the semis were in a neutral grounds, but that's very neutral.
They were always at Villa Park.
Villa Park, that would have been a much
and then
more
for some reason
choice.
They picked Ellen Road.
What was the other semi?
Man United. I can't remember. It would have been Man United against somebody.
I'm wondering if the other game was at Villa Park. That was
maybe it was. But I remember vividly, I would have been, so that was 95, I was born in 82, so 92 I was 10, so I've been 13. And after the game finished, we went to a cafe around the corner from the stadium in Leeds, and Dad was like, look, we're going to get you something to eat. So we went into the cafe and it was mostly Tottenham fans. And this Yorkshire lass came around to take our order. But before she did that, she took the order from the table to the left of us. And she goes, "Hello, love. Can I take your order?" And then the bloke went, "New goalkeeper, new midfield, new attackers." And then I was really upset. I was like inconsolable. And then I just started laughing, and my dad did when we heard that. And it was like, because
That's funny.
we left, like, obviously I'm from where you are. We left, I remember it being, I think it was like a 12:30 kickoff maybe, but we left the house at like 4 a.m. to get to Leeds.
It's a long old trip.
Oh,
Isn't it?
like great memories. But yes, so the Aussie Ardelis episode.
That is a great one.
I highly encourage anyone to
I
listen
think
to that.
I can't
And then
remember
the
what was
other.
what was the other? Go on.
The other tidbit in that episode was when we signed Jurgen Klinsmann, Ozzy actually wanted Maradona.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh Christ!
That
Can you
goes-
imagine? Can you imagine? Wow.
After the '94 World Cup,
That would
signing
have been
Maradona.
something.
Yeah, indeed. Well, nothing more from me. I'm probably going to. I've got to get to the office in a little bit. I'm going to listen to the Frank interview, which I'm looking forward to listening to with Michael Carrick. But other than to say, Champions League football is back at the lane.
Under
Looking forward to
lights.
it. Yeah,
Love
under the
it.
lights. Hopefully, all in white under the lights. And come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on closer each day.